Okay, once again, as I've told you, I'm on my farm, whereby now I'm trying to control and save the amount of soil that can be carried away by soil erosion. And as you have seen, you can see now some lanes have just come immediately, or rather as soon as I have finished cleaning this pothole. And as you can see, this water which is running from the top now is coming to this pothole, and it is carrying a lot of topsoil. It is carrying a lot of topsoil, and you can see now this water cannot just go direct because it has been blocked using these twigs. As you can see now, this water which have been stopped here, it is now accumulating, and since it is carrying a lot of topsoil, what is happening now is that now the soil which is in the water will now sink into this pothole, and once this pothole gets filled up, this water is going to overflow and it will move on to the other side as it is clean. Now let's see what will be happening now, because this water is still coming. It is running from the top, and it's a lot of lane which is going on. So this water have been blocked. It is not going direct down this water path. It has been blocked on this or along this water pot. Now you can see a lot of it is now coming. It is not going direct downhill. As you can see on this side, it is dry. So what will be happening here is that now this water which is accumulating here, as it is accumulating, you can see now a lot of soil will be now sinking, and the moment this pot is filled up, you can see now some more water now is flowing from this block. Excess water is flowing, which is now carrying less soil. It is carrying less soil because most of it has been left at the top here, whereby as you can see, water is running, it is coming, and now this is now clean water which is now flowing. And we shall see what will be happening, because now it is flowing downhill, and the moment it comes, it will meet another block which will again stop that water. As you can see, the water is still flowing because lanes are still continuing. Don't forget that on my first pot, or on my first block, some soil has been blocked there, so it will be left there, which I will later on collect and heap it on my farm, so that I can distribute that soil after the lanes have stopped. So you can see excess water now is flowing down. It is flowing down. This excess water is flowing down, as you can see, and it is carrying less soil. It is carrying less soil, and now once it comes down this way, it will meet another block somewhere here, so that water will be stopped. Now what normally happens is that with these water blocks, two things normally happens. The speed of the water will be stopped, water will be reduced, and the amount of soil that will be carried by this water will be deposited here. So as you can see, this water now has reached this part here. You can see this water now is coming, carrying less soil, because already part of the soil has been left on my first pot. So this water now is carrying less soil. Remember, this pot I've just finished cleaning. I've collected all the soil that was being brought here, and as you can see, now this water is carrying some soil, and now the speed has been reduced. And in the process, as this water now accumulates on this pot, as it accumulates here, some soil will sink down, and that is now the topsoil, which I will later on come and correct and heap along these heaps. As you can see here, this is a heap of soil which I've just collected from this pothole here. And now as you can see, this tunnel, this part here, there are several things that have been done here. Some water is running along this part, and there is some water which has been reduced here. So if this water is flowing very, very, very fast, excess water will now pass along this part here towards that edge, whereby it will meet another block. I'll show you, and more water will just be accumulating here, and once it accumulates and get filled up, again it will overflow. Remember, as it overflows, it is going to leave some soil here, Let's wait and see what is going to happen. Thank you. So you can see more water is coming, culling a lot of erosion. And on this side of the block, it is very dry as you can see. There is no water that is coming here. So the speed of the water that was running downhill has been stopped here, has been reduced here. And in the process, as this water now collects, as I've told you, more silt will be sinking down. This is the soil that I will come here with my spade, and then I collect it, I heap it somewhere, waiting for the rains to subside so that I can redistribute this soil to the areas that will be very much affected. So depending on the size of your pothole, that is now the time it will take to fill up. And as you can see now, this water is just about to overflow, and as it overflows, some soil will be left here. Soil is not going to be carried direct, so some soil will be left here. As I've told you, this is the silt that is carrying a lot of nutrients that I will later on come and correct and redistribute to my farm. So let's see what will happen. So as you can see now, excess water is now tending to overflow. It is now tending to overflow to the other side. That is now excess water. As you can see, it is flowing to the other side with a reduced speed. So once it goes to the other side of this water block, as you can see now, it is flowing to the other side. The other side of the water block is dry, and this waterway, as you can see now, that water now is now running to the other side. You can see it is running. So again, it will be culling a bit of the soil, and again, along that path, it will collect more soil. It will collect more soil from both sides of the piece of land. Now this water is running, and as you can see, this water is not actually clean. It is not actually clean. And the moment you see colored water, it means that it is culling soil. It is culling soil. So you can see so far, this water is still flowing. It is still flowing towards the downhill, whereby now it will meet another block. It will meet another block. Remember, these water blocks are created very simply by just using the small leaves that you have on your land. You just put them along the water block. Now, as you can see, since this part I had not corrected the silt, this is now the silt. This one, you can see, this is the silt which I had not corrected, but again, more rain has come, and you can see this water now is flowing to this pothole here. So this is what is going to happen here. Because of the speed of the water that is going to be reduced here, I have created two potholes. There is this one here, and here there is a block, as you can see, and here there is another block here, and already, due to the previous rains that were there, some water is still remaining here. And on this side, I have now a permanent block, because now this is the head of my plot, so that now this water, which will now be flowing outside my plot, a lot of soil will be left here. So as you can see now on this water pot here, still with more water that is flowing all along that part. As you can see, all this is water that is getting collected from both sides of the plot. And remember, this water is culling top soil, which is loam soil, and it is very nutritious. It has manure, some fertilizer is there, decomposition of green plants is there, and now this is the soil that is being swept away by this running water. So as you can see, this water block which we have here, the water is colored, meaning that it is carrying a lot of soil. Now, as it slows down here, as it rests here for some times, what will happen is that the soil that will be mixed with water will sink, and the overflow will be carrying less soil. So as you can see, more soil will be left here, and once this water overflows on this barrier here, you'll get more soil again being deposited here before this water now leaves towards the edge of the plot. So again, you can see that overflow, and as this water is resting here, we have some soil which is sinking in this pot here, or rather in this pothole here, and this soil is the one that I will correct later on, and then I heap it, as you can see on the other side. And also here there is more heap which I've covered with these leaves to ensure that this soil which I've corrected from this hole here, or rather from this pothole here, is not again swept away by the lanes that will be ongoing. So you can see this water now have joined the water that was there previously, and it will continue accumulating here, hoping that the lanes will stop. Then I come and correct my silt, which will have been deposited here by this water. Now you can see this section here, which is marking the edge of my plot, because now this is the forest. So a lot of water now will be accumulating here, and it will be carrying less soil, because all along this waterway from the top there, I have been blocking this water. So down here, I'm making the final collection of the water here. As you can see, this pothole here is a bit big. In fact, it is acting as a mini dam. Whereby water now will correct and silt will accumulate down, or rather at the bottom of this water pot. As you can see, it will take some time to fill up. So hoping that once it gets filled up, more of the soil will be filtered here. As the water now leaves towards downhill, you'll find now that water will be carrying less soil. So now, as you can see, this pothole here, it is already filled with water, and the water which is flowing here, if you can look at it carefully, you can see it's a bit clean, and more soil here has been deposited here through sinking. Excess water, because the lane can be heavy, will be passing along that tunnel there, which again will stop some water, and more deposits will be made there. The other water will be passing along this other edge here, and as you can see, some water here is flowing, but it is not too much. And since I have just cleaned this tunnel here, or rather this small tunnel here, you can see the water is coming here. It has been cleaned up to this edge, and down here it is already dry, hoping that if the rain is going to continue, more of the flood, or more of the water will be coming here. And since I've just cleaned this portion here, as you can see, this portion here has already been cleaned, and more soil has been heaped here. If that water will be persisting and comes towards this part here, you'll see this again will mark the edge of my plot, because now this is the forest. And so as that water rests there, more of the silt will sink, and any excess water, as you can see here, there is a bigger extension of that water block. Any excess water which will pass through this part here, as you can see, it is now going to come into this forest here. And this forest here, we have trees, it has not been cultivated, and we have got twigs that are lying on the ground. So any excess soil that will be running off from the piece of land will again be deposited here. And now this will ensure that I will manage to collect at least more than 70% of the soil that can run away, or rather that can be swept away by the floods. As you can see, this is flood that is tending to jump over this last block which we have here, and this water which is carrying a lot of soil will be filtered here with these twigs. As you can see, this is a forest which has not been cultivated. There is a lot of leaves, and so a lot of soil will be held here, whereby after the rains I'll come here and collect all this soil, and then I'll transport it back to my plot. Well, still as a measure of controlling soil erosion on my piece of land, you can see here there are twigs that I have cut from the forest and have dropped them here. These twigs, as you can see, they will again act as water barriers, because any water that will be running along this plot of land, the speed will be reduced and more of the soil will be held here. As you can see, there is a lot of soil that has been held in between these twigs. So after the rains, I'll remove my twigs, and then I continue cultivating my piece of land with the proper soil which has not been weakened by soil erosion. Just in case there is more of erosion to take place, just next here you can see there is a small valley here, a small tunnel here, as you can see, which will again hold any excess water, any excess soil that will be carried by the soil. So if you go back to our last pothole here, as you can see, now it is already filling up with water, and we are expecting the water that will spill will pass over here to the other side of the forest, having less amount of soil in it. So remember, our idea here is to control the amount of soil that can be carried through soil erosion. Well, I've said all what you do, check the water pads of your shamba where the water is tending to run, and then you create water barriers by just using small twigs which you just drop along that path. You drop them along that path, and then you'll be able to reduce the speed of the water. You'll also be able to get some soil deposits from that pothole, which you can later correct, and you return it back to your piece of land. Let's meet next time for another episode.